You know what's going to happen? Taylor Swift's going to be in her private jet flying into Southeast Asia to get to Singapore. She's going to look outside of her private jet and she's going to see a bunch of Myanmarese people ripping each other's faces off and cannibalizing each other because there's no food left and they live in an authoritarian regime. She's going to see that. She's going to see guys eating each other's flesh and bones and fire and anger. And, she's going to be like, oh, my God, what's that? And the pilot's going to be like, hey, Taylor, shake it off.
But bed's not done, and I'm going to tell you why.
Welcome back to Sean's Show, episode 31. I'm so excited. And I'm here, as always, with my Caucasian producer, Josh Kabaza.
I'm Caucasian today.
Hello. You're Caucasian today.
Oh, yeah.
We live in a world where you can be anything you want.
Awesome.
You can be anything. You can be transracial. You can be...
No, you can't be transracial. That was the one trans you can't be.
That was the one trans you can... The buck stops with race.
Yeah.
The buck stops with race. You cannot be a race that you are not.
Correct.
Is that a hot take in 2024? You can't be a race that you're not.
In 2035, you get canceled for that, but right now, no.
Right now, it's fine.
Yes.
And I mean, in 2035, I don't even want to be alive in 2035. The world is so bad right now. Is the world bad, or is it just me?
I don't think it's bad. I think it's great. It's the unveiling. Some would call the apocalypse. That's a good thing.
Do you think Christ will return? Do you guys still believe in Christ? Do you guys still believe in anything? Does anyone believe in anything anymore? Or are we... What do you believe in, Josh?
Jesus.
No, you don't.
Yeah.
You really...
Yeah, look. I got a scapular on and everything.
If you're just listening...
Catholic.
If you're just listening, Josh has a pentagram necklace.
It's not pentagram, it's a scapular.
What is it called?
My mom gave it to me. It's basically it says on there, if you die wearing this, you'll go to heaven. So I'm like, all right.
As you fuck a kid.
No,
you just die.
It doesn't. No.
See, that's the thing about religion. Starting off with a kid fucking joke. That's how we do it on Sean's Show. I don't want to be on SNL ever. I don't give a fuck.
No, they have skits like that. Remember the Rock skit where he makes a robot that's so evil?
Oh, that's a classic sketch. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone else has these evil weapons, and then he has a robot.
Yeah,
What is it?
This robot. Molest kids. And then they'll continue to like, that's evil. He's like, I thought that was what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, and everyone else is like fake evil robots. That's funny. The Rock actually wrote that, believe it or not, when he was on steroids. You know what I don't like about these everything is so scripted, and that's why I want to do podcasting and I want to do stand-up, because when you write for TV, you don't get credit. Everyone thinks that The Rock is hilarious now because a team of writers wrote a monologue for him. Mm-hmm. And sure, he delivered it well or whatever. Probably he delivered it well.
Delivery is everything.
But delivery is not everything. You can deliver stuff badly and it's still funny if the words are funny, I think. To a certain extent.
To a certain extent, but delivery is huge. That's why there's a lot of great lyricists who are great rappers, but they don't make it anywhere because you can't listen more than 2 songs.
Right, like Logic. Do you listen to Logic?
No, I can't.
Some of these rappers, they rap so fast. I'm like, I don't really care what you're saying.
I like J.I.D. and he raps just as fast. It's just, it's the, I don't know. I just like it. It hits the ear better.
Yeah. Podcasting is a lot like that. I have a certain cadence and rhythm to my voice that people find abrasive.
Yeah,
and unappealing.
Yeah, there's some people who sing while they're talking. And today we're going to talk about that.
I hate newscaster voice. I fucking hate newscaster voice. You know what the worst part about the news is? The worst part about watching the news is when there's the reporter in the studio and they set up a news story, then they cut to the field reporter, but there's that little weird beat. They'll be like, here's a news story from today. I don't know. Voters today are out on Super Tuesday voting for their candidates for the primary federal election. Let's go to Jim, who's in Oklahoma City. Jim? And then it'll cut to the guy.
Yeah.
And then he'll be like, thanks, Bill. And I'm just like, what? Are we... You haven't figured out the technology to get the signal to him faster?
No.
Or do they do it on purpose? Is that part of... I'm being very myopic about this, but is that part of the news experience now? Is that we do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, it's just
when they cut to the guy in the field and then he doesn't respond until
It's like governments. They don't update the technology. It's still using They're still using fax machines and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like same thing with news. They still have old ass cameras and shit. Not all of them, but a lot of them.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's really, and this is of the theme of the episode. It's really indicative of the downfall of America. That's kind of the theme of the show today, guys. We have many stories to cover. Many stories to cover. I hope you've been following the news. We're going to cover Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin hit 69,000.
Fuck yeah.
And every man I know that gets no pussy is very excited about it. I'm just being real. You know, I got a text from this guy. He's like a friend of a friend. I met him a few times, and he keeps hounding me to buy Bitcoin. Let me pull up the text he sent me. It's hilarious.
You can't convert people. They have to come with a realization themselves, because then they'll never understand it.
I've realized it. If I had more money, I would buy it.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think a lot of people are like, yeah, Bitcoin's a good idea. I'm broke.
But you can put $10 a week.
Yeah, but let's be real. $10 a week. I think, and I do want to say this. People are getting really, really excited about Bitcoin as if you still don't need money for it to make an impact. I really think, like, people are getting excited about an asset that's doubling in a few months. Mm-hmm. I can double your money today. You just give me all your cash.
It's a way to save. So instead of saving in, a Roth IRA or putting it into bonds, you put it into that, and then you beat inflation. Right.
And hey, if you want to beat inflation with your savings, that's great. But like, let's not pretend that this is some sort of. It is a revolution. It's a revolution in the economy
against the banking system.
Against the banking system. That's cool. I'm all for that. But let's don't get too fucking excited about it. You know, at the end of you know what it is, Josh? It's like at the end of The Big Short. Mm-hmm. At the end of The Big Short, they're like walking out of the casino, and they've just made millions of dollars. They made like $50 million betting on the crash of the economy. Mm-hmm. And then one of the guys, I love this movie. One of the guys who has already been rich for a long time is walking, and he's sad. And the other two guys that had just gotten rich as fuck, they're celebrating. And you know what the guy that had been rich for a long time says? He goes, just don't fucking dance.
Yeah,
just don't dance.
He goes, you want to know about statistics? For every 1% that unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die.
Right.
That's why I hate whatever, because it puts everybody into numbers and not lives.
Also, and honestly, I forgot that he said that, and that kind of makes him seem like a pussy. Also, is that even true? For every 1% the S&P goes down, 140,000 people die.
No, 1% unemployment goes up.
For every percent that unemployment goes up, 40,000 people die.
Correct.
Well, I mean, I don't know what you want. You should have worked harder. That's what I was. You should have worked harder.
Smarter. I wouldn't say work harder.
Work smarter.
Because
if you have 3 jobs.
Well, because corporations don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
It's not like our mom and dads where they were able to work for a company for 30 years, retire, and be like, I got my pension. It's like, nah.
Right.
They'll fuck you over, and right before you get your pension, they'll be like, sorry, we lost all the money.
And that's their right. That's their right to do that. And if you aren't prepared for an economic storm, it is not anyone else's fault but your own.
The banks are collapsing this month.
Yeah,
the commercial banks.
The commercial banks can't pay back their loans. Everyone's working from home. Everyone's working from home and blowing loads into their Zoom calls.
Yes.
Everyone is on Zoom. In 2024, we live in a world where everyone's on Zoom, on remote work calls with their manager's manager, talking about a graphic design or a code base that doesn't really need any more updating.
Well, that's why we're going to go through an AI revolution, just like the Industrial Revolution, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs. I mean, we'll still have Uber drivers and shit like that, because Elon Musk's robo-taxi is going to come to fruition anytime soon. But
right,
it's going to be a lot of manual jobs.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I want? I want everyone with a fake remote job to get fired. And I want them to cry. And I want them to try to unionize and not succeed at unionizing. Because this was who I was. You go through college and you finally get this cushy job, and you think that you've worked a day in your life when you haven't. I've never worked a day in my life. I worked on Wall Street. I've worked a day in my fucking life. But these people get entitled. These people make $120,000 a year working at a fucking cold brew startup or like a beverage company, and they get these cushy remote jobs, and they think that they hustled to get there, and they make $10,000 a month.
It's usually nepotism,
and that was the case for me. Actually, mine was different. Mine wasn't like total nepotism. See, the thing is, people think it's either nepotism or it's not. There's a continuum. I had to hustle to meet my friend's uncle who works on Wall Street. I had to hustle to meet that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, was he in my network? Yes, he was. But I had to like ask around.
Right.
So it was like it's not the same as like my dad working for the company, and like that is really fucked up nepotism, is when you have to push the kid to get the job that everyone else is killing each other for.
Mm-hmm.
But then the guy that gets it is the guy that doesn't even want the job, and he reluctantly takes it.
And that's why he's the best at it.
Yeah, that's right.
When you don't try, when you try, you die. I think Kanye West.
Kanye, when you try hard, that's when you die hard.
Yep.
Die Hard, great Christmas movie. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin. We're going to talk about Super Tuesday. We're going to talk about Taylor Swift.
She just put out a tweet saying basically vote for Biden.
Oh, real? Well, so I read that it was just now. I read that it was like just go out there and vote.
Vote for who's in your heart and da 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 and blah blah blah. It's not for Trump. I mean,
that reads to me like she's not trying to. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah,
we'll get to that. So Taylor tells you to go vote, but not for who specifically. And we're gonna talk about a moon lander. So lots of big news. Oh, and there's a solar eclipse coming, and I don't care.
April 8th.
Don't give a fuck. I don't care about a solar eclipse. And to be honest, if you care about a solar eclipse, there's something broken in your brain.
I'm going to Big Ben.
Really?
Yeah. Well, not because my whole family, just because not because I would be able to see the solar eclipse better here in in Austin.
Yeah.
But Big Ben that night, like because the moon isn't going to be shining at all, you can see all the stars like really bright.
Yeah,
I'm gonna try to fuck my wife out there. That's the whole plan.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hot. I mean,
yeah.
I'm not saying that's hot. I mean, that's very very primitive.
Yes.
Not primitive.
No, it is. Because
there's power in that.
We're gonna sleep under the stars. It's like a big dome, and the ceiling is clear. So as you sleep in bed, you can see all the stars all that night.
I've never fucked in a tent, and I really feel like that's a big part of the human experience that I've missed.
Mm-hmm.
I've also never felt love.
Oh shit!
No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm just autistic, and I'm out of touch with my emotions. People need to be less in touch with their emotions.
They are.
They need to be less in touch, but less.
That's why there's so much therapy, because people don't know how to get in touch with their emotions and let things go.
Well, I mean, a lot of people are like, this self-care, this therapy, this self-care culture is bad. It's bad. You know what? And again, America is failing. It's. Let me start with this story. It's just a quick story.
The world is failing.
The whole world, but especially America. I mean, it's really, there was, I don't know if you follow space news. I study aerospace engineering. I'm into space news. There was a private company that wanted to send a lander to the moon. Mm-hmm. And they're a private contractor. I don't know. They contracted with the government or NASA or whatever. And they sent a lander to the moon, and it ends up fucking sideways. And this is really it's the start of the failure of this country, because it's the start of America losing our technological supremacy. We were able to get a moon lander on the moon. We put a guy on the moon 50 years ago, and he walked around, he jumped around. There was a fucking moon rover.
Yeah.
He drove around on a goddamn car on the moon and flexed on everyone. Mm-hmm. You know how much of a flex that is?
Yeah.
Drive a car on the moon? To be literally on the moon? That's like I'm on a boat, but like, I'd love to go to the moon someday.
What's the guy that made Eyes Wide Shut?
The guy that died?
Director. Yeah, the director.
Kubrick?
Yeah, I thought it was
Stanley Kubrick.
I thought it was Stanley
Kubrick
that made the moon landing.
Is that true?
That's the conspiracy.
Oh, he directed the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I've been to NASA, and we've not been to the moon.
Yeah, because we live in the, what is it, firmament?
We live in the firmament. But look, so why it's so this is a New York Times article. Why it's so challenging to land upright on the moon. It's because we don't let Chinese PhDs go to Berkeley anymore. We're pussies. We're scared of getting top talent from around the world into these universities. Mm-hmm. And guess what? Any old motherfucker can work on the moon lander now. I could work on the moon lander, and, you know, I smoke crack every day. Not me, but I know a lot of guys. I know guys that I went to college with that are alcoholic, depressed, fat losers working in the aerospace industry. That should be reserved for Asians only. There should literally be discrimination against everyone.
Has China or Japan ever gone to the moon?
Oh yeah, I think they're having their own issues though.
Yeah,
but again, that's we're losing our grip. America, we're losing our grip on technological supremacy. Here's an article from the New York Times. 2 spacecraft have ended up askew on the lunar surface this year. It is easier to tip over in the weaker gravity on the moon than you may imagine. Apparently not for America 50 years ago. Sounds like a lot of excuses. Mm-hmm. What's this bullshit company? When the robotic lander Odysseus last month became the first American-built spacecraft to touch down on the moon in more than 50 years, it toppled over at an angle. That limited the amount of science it could do at the lunar surface because its antennas and solar panels were not pointed in the correct directions. Again, and you know what else I don't like about the journalism now? There's all these firsts. You know, every election, every big thing is a first. Like, and then, hey, New York Times, it's not a first. It goes, when the robotic lander Odysseus last month became the first American-built spacecraft in more than 50 years. It's the first in more than 50 years. But like, that's bullshit. It's a bullshit way to characterize that. What if I were to go up to a girl, I was like, hey, like, you're my first in 20 years.
Yeah.
You know? Like, oh, you're my first. In 15 years. I have herpes, but you're my first.
I think after 10 years, you become a virgin again.
That may be true, but the herpes stays.
Yes.
You're a virgin with herpes.
Yes.
But it's just, it's indicative of the fact that we don't try anymore. If we can't look at this guy, Harrison Schmidt losing his balance. Oh, this is in 1972. I mean, look, we used to be able to know how to do things, and we forgot how to do things. We've truly, as a country, forgotten how to do things. I mean, you know, they talk about stability. They have all this money.
But I mean,
blah blah
the
blah
whole thing? I mean, I know it came from Nazis, but I'm saying like it was national pride to beat the Russians. I mean, that's what motivated us. And now it's like, well, we're not going to really compete with anybody about going to space anymore. So what the fuck is the point?
We're lazy. We are lazy. There's no probably my fault. You know, not my fault, but I'm against nationalism, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe a little bit of nationalism is good.
Damn, did you say you're a Nazi?
Maybe not a Nazi. National, which by the way stands for National Socialist Party, right?
Correct.
Something like that.
Yes.
Which I oppose vigorously.
Which is weird because they were fascist.
But I am a fascist, but I oppose Nazism.
Yeah.
I'm for technological fascism. It's a different type of fascism. But
we're under that right now,
and it's getting better. It's becoming stronger. But
we give up freedom not for safety but for convenience. You know what I mean? So it's just that's as long as it's more convenient, we don't give as a people we don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, if I have to do 2 less clicks, yeah. Take all my information, my retinas, everything.
And, you know, I mean, it's just sad that that's the way the world's going. I personally want freedom. And I never got a chance. I never got a choice. The NSA spied on me, and I never got to vote on that. Mm-hmm. All the issues that matter we don't, and by the way, this is leading into Super Tuesday. All the issues that matter, you don't get to vote on. It's not a vote. It's manufactured consent.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna happen.
Well, the workaround is, well, you voted for them, and then they made the decisions, so you did vote.
Yeah, I really, if I could go back in time, I would love to go back in time to like 2016 when everyone was telling me to vote for Hillary, and also in 2020 when people were telling me to vote for Joe Biden. You know, he's the lesser of two evils. This lesser of two evils is not democracy. Democracy has not been lesser of two evils. You should be able to vote for a candidate that has a chance of winning that roughly aligns with your values. And yeah, of course there's going to be some compromise because, like, for me personally, I would like to see a candidate that's strong on immigration, you know, secures the border. I'd like a guy that loves goth bitches. I'd like a president that likes to fuck goth bitches. I'd like a president that, you know, doesn't have a problem twerking sometimes.
You're going to vote for Donald Trump?
I'd like a president that grabs a woman by the pussy.
Yeah.
You know?
All four of those things are Donald Trump.
It's you know, I really don't like the lecture. Everyone, when the federal elections roll around, there's a lot of people that get into this mode. I don't know what it is. They get into this mode where they're very lectury, and it's very narcissistic. It's like they have their candidate, whether it be Trump or Biden or whoever the two people are at the time, and they get in this mode where they're like, if you don't vote, you're the devil. Like if literally, you know, these people, they're like, I tell people I'm not going to vote, and they have a heart attack.
Yeah.
I'm not going to vote. They're like,
oh, you know what's worse than that?
What?
Voting third party. When you tell somebody you voted third party, you're just going to throw away your vote? And it's just like,
that's it. I want to talk about this.
Yeah.
I want to talk about this because it's super important. When, you know, let me try to characterize the hypocrisy here because it is real. So they tell you, go out and vote. Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift says, go out and vote. Vote for the person that you want to be in power. Right? So then you go vote third party. And all those same people that told you to go vote, and you did go vote, they get mad because they said you're throwing away your vote if you vote third party. If you say that, if they come back at you and say, oh, you voted for third party, you're throwing away your vote, they're admitting that it's not a fucking democracy.
Right.
Because they're admitting that to you and to themselves that there's no way a third party candidate could win. And guess what? That's been my point the whole motherfucking time, is that it's between two candidates, and that's not democracy. But they like suck the dick of they suck Uncle Sam's cock. They just really gag on Uncle Sam's cock when it's time to vote for a president. You are a sheep. You're a fucking sheep.
Well, they've tried that before. Remember, I don't know, well, you maybe don't remember, but Ross Perot, like, he was on the debates. It was Ross Perot, George Bush, and Bill Clinton. And Bill Clinton fucking won. He just had to sit there and kind of smile like, oof, he's tearing you a new one. And that's why a lot of people say Bill Clinton won.
Who's Ross Perot? Is he a third-party candidate?
Ross Perot was like a crazy Ron Paul. This is what I would describe him as.
Okay.
I think,
was he a Republican?
No,
independent?
He was an independent. He was either a billionaire or a multimillionaire, ran his own campaign, say stuff like, you can't start a fire with a pig in a barn and a blanket. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? I don't know if that was an SNL sketch or if he really said it, but it was something along those lines.
He had like psychosis, like he was psychotic or something.
He was just, he was the first one to really air out in debates like, yo, this guy's fucked up. Bush is fucked up, you know?
Like a precursor to Trump.
In a way, yeah. Well, it was no, more like Ron Paul. More like Ron Paul, I think. Because he was a libertarian. And after that, they were like,
lost.
He lost, but really what they said is that he just took away all the votes from that would have went to Bush, and that's why Clinton won.
Well, dude, and that's the important of a third candidate. A third candidate makes the other two candidates try a lot harder. And when you don't have that, you get guys like Joe Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, you ain't black.
Yeah.
Fuck Joe Biden, dude. And fuck Donald Trump. Fuck both of these guys for like
fucking us.
They fucked both of us, and we can't do anything. We just can't do
local elections and governor elections are way more important, I think.
People say that, but are they really?
Yeah, depending on your state. If you have a powerful state like California, New York, or Texas, Florida, it definitely matters who your governor is.
What's the point of voting in a local election or a state election?
So
I'm already a white male.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah.
I'm kidding. But what is? You can actually have an influence?
Well, for example, like let's say Abbott wasn't in power, then I think let's say it was, what's his name? Beto O'Rourke?
Beto?
Yeah. Imagine the border crisis. It'd be 10 times worse.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because he'd like really just open up the border.
He wouldn't. Well, I don't think he would do something. I think he would do nothing
and allow the federal government to, basically make him a puppet.
Yeah, well, I mean, he was a puppet. He is a puppet. Yeah,
but and so, that's my thing.
All politicians have alliances to whoever got them in power, of course.
Yeah, and if you covet power. I mean, if you covet power like that, you're crazy.
Yeah, but they all do. They all covet power.
And so it's like. I see. Maybe it's because I'm not affected by politics because I got lucky and I was born white and male. Like maybe if I was a woman, I would actually vote.
Well, no, I mean look at San Francisco. You're from San Francisco. I mean is it not a shithole right now?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like if you're rich, you can be insulated from any politics because you can just go to the place where there's no crime.
To a point, but what if your government devalues your money and now? Maybe you had $10 million, but 10 years from now, it's only worth $1 million.
Well, that's my point is like, if you vote locally in your state elections, that's not going to stop the Federal Reserve from devaluing the dollar.
It won't. But for example, they try to go after all the Bitcoin miners and Texas put a stop to that and said, no, and they went to the Supreme Court and Texas won. So Texas fought back against that because what they want to do is they want to make it illegal for you to self-custody your Bitcoin.
Right.
You can't keep your Bitcoin in your mattress.
You are a terrorist if you do that.
According to Elizabeth Warren. Yes.
And me.
Oh, and you as well.
Because if you do that, what are you hiding?
There you go.
I love it. I love it when people... I had a friend growing up, and it was when I first was kind of learning about the Bill of Rights or something. We were in school, and we were talking about like... we were actually talking about like the cops or something, and I was like, it was the beginning of when I started to hate the police, and I was like, dude, it's so crazy they can just search you. And my friend was like, well, why would you just let them search you? You have nothing. If you have nothing to hide, why wouldn't you just let them search you?
Right.
And I was like, oh, like you're a pussy. Well, I didn't realize like you're
the same thing. Like the people don't care about freedom of speech. You know what I mean? It's like, well, no, you shouldn't be able to say that. It's the same equivalent of saying I don't care about freedom of speech because I have nothing to say.
Yeah. Because
the whole point is, sure, right now they might go after the people who you don't like, who are bad guys. Mm-hmm. But then when do you become the bad guy?
That's right. Right now.
There you go.
Right now. So I don't know. Politics it's really hard. It's really hard to really come to grips with any of this stuff. But we are filming this episode. It is Super Tuesday. I don't even know. Does the American public even know what Super Tuesday is? I feel like people don't even know. Do people know how the president gets elected? I was reading this article. I'm like, I don't know how the president gets elected.
Delegates?
Yeah, delegates.
And the delegates don't even have to vote the way you voted. The delegate can go be like, nah, I don't like that.
Yeah, so it's like you win a delegate, and the delegate can vote against how they were the voters want the delegate to vote.
Correct.
But then, how do you become a delegate? Why are these people not named? Name the delegates.
Nepotism.
That's my message today. Name the delegates. Name and shame delegates. Who are you? Why do you want to do that? And why does it exist? Why can't it just be the voters vote for their candidate and the candidate with the most votes wins? Why do we have to have all these middlemen? People go, oh, the Electoral College is a check against the tyranny of the majority. Hey, people are dying in the streets, and you're talking about the tyranny of the majority. Can we not have these philosophical arguments and cut the bullshit and simplify the process? The bureaucracies, they love complicating things because it boosts because it boosts the budget
of their hearts.
Yes, they want to help. They love public service.
Yeah,
they love, and it's like I love it when senators are like, "Oh, I'm making such a huge sacrifice by going into public service." These good people dedicated their lives to public service. Fuck you.
Yeah, if they went back and did it like senators and congressmen get paid the same amount as teachers, meaning, and you had to have a regular job, then I think there would be they'd vote against. They wouldn't vote against their own people.
Yeah, I mean, Nancy Pelosi's doing it right. Nancy Pelosi, a bad bitch. I would honestly bang Nancy Pelosi.
Oof.
Just kidding. No, I'm happily married. No, I'm not. I would never bang her. I don't know. It's really reprehensible. But let's talk about Super Tuesday. You listeners out there, do you know what that is? I mean, again, the theme is America's fucked. We have Iowa. We have the Iowa caucus. Maybe I'm just retarded. What is the Iowa caucus? What is the New Hampshire caucus? What is Super Tuesday? What is a delegate? Where do I vote?
Mm-hmm. What school or something?
What is a trans person? What is
their delegates?
Who is Thanos, and how can we stop him? Top of mind issues for voters are immigration, the economy, and of course stopping Thanos.
Yes,
because if we can't stop Thanos, none of this matters. But like, so many Americans, their vote doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in California, your vote doesn't matter. If you live in New York, and I'm talking about for the federal election, your vote doesn't matter. The only votes that matter are the people that live in Iowa,
Wisconsin,
who they pre-buy alcohol on Saturdays because they don't sell it on Sundays. These are the types of states that decide who the leader of the free world is, the quote-unquote leader of the free world. And if that doesn't scare you, then I have a timeshare to sell you. Truly, it's bad. Here's another article from the failing New York Times. By the way, the New York Times has really cleaned up their reporting on Israel-Palestine. For a long time, they were very pro-Israel, and now they're siding with Hamas, and I like that. So this New York Times article says, the biggest issue on Americans' minds is also a tough one to agree on. As 15 states hold primaries on Super Tuesday, we asked voters what they would do about immigration and how it was affecting their decisions.
What would you do about immigration?
You know what I would do? Well, you know me, Josh. I would make, as far as the DACA, the Dreamers go, instantly they all become citizens of Russia. That's what I would do with the Dreamers.
Yeah.
Anyone trying to enter the country illegally, I would give them a shovel and I would say, get digging. And I'd make them all dig a trench. People want to build a wall. I want to build a trench. It's not that easy to get over a big hole in the ground. Why don't we dig? Is this a good idea?
Indentured servitude? I don't know.
Why don't we get all of the migrants? Let's give them shovels. And we say, you want to be an American citizen? Get digging. And we make them dig a big old trench in between Mexico and the U.S. And that way no one can get over the trench. People want to build a wall. Dig a trench.
What's in the trench?
Dig a trench. Bodies of people that try to get to this country. No, what's in the trench?
Yeah.
I don't know. Fiscal responsibility. You go to the bottom of that trench. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not a good place to be. You know, to the bottom of that trench, Josh? Joe Rogan's podcast studio.
Oh, that was him. That wasn't me.
No, that was a joke.
Or maybe if things were better in their countries, then maybe more people wouldn't be coming over here. You know what I mean? Maybe we can, instead of giving money to Ukraine, we can help them.
I mean, you mean people trying to come here?
Yeah, exactly. So if we, like, for example, how the IMF held down El Salvador forever and it became the murder capital of the world and all this stuff, and
Which a record I'm very proud of, by the way. That's a record I'm very proud of.
so instead of forcing these, doing the same thing to Greece and stuff, let's sort of forcing this, making them all the state, the country, an indentured servant to the IMF. Maybe we stop doing that and let them prosper. Then people are like, well, why would I want to leave my beautiful country to go up there? They're coming up here because not just the United States, but the banking system fucked them over, and there's nothing that they can do about it. They can't get ahead.
I mean, who funds the IMF? What is that the International Monetary Fund? If you're not familiar, it's funded by NATO states, is it not?
Yes.
Let's look up the IMF. I mean, we've looked up the IMF already on the show.
Right.
So the IMF is an extension of the Western banking industry.
Yes.
But it's a terrorist organization. In a lot of ways, it's economic terrorism.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Don't they sanction? Well, it's like they go to these countries that are already fucked up. And then they go, hey, you guys are fucked up. We're going to sanction you until you stop being fucked up.
Well, they lend them a bunch of money at a high interest rate, and then they can't pay it back, so then they just start taking their resources.
Well, you know what? Maybe El Salvadorians should have negotiated a better interest rate on their predatory loan.
They kicked them out. They arrested a lot.
Is that Malahi or is that another
I can't remember.
Who's the chainsaw guy?
No, I think that's Argentina.
Argentina, that's right.
That's right. This guy rounded up anybody who had MS-13 tattoos. Like, you didn't even have to be found. You just had the tattoo. Like, crazy RICO law. Like, you're rounded up and put in prison.
Damn.
Yeah.
But it's
and now he's making a Bitcoin volcano to mine Bitcoin through the volcano and sell bonds.
And again, that's the kind of innovation we need in America.
Yeah. Texas is doing that. 10% of Bitcoin mining is here in Texas.
It's an exciting time. It's also a sad time. America. So back to immigration. This is the New York Times. Americans have argued about immigration for decades, often with anger, fear, and racial resentment. But if the debate stands out today, it's for another sentiment coursing through the conversation: exhaustion. I think that's a very good take. I think people are very exhausted by the immigration conversation. New York Times interviewed a few people, some of them immigrants, some of them racists, on their policies, what they would do. This one lady goes, everyone keeps saying it's broken, she said, but we do have laws and we do have measures in place that we're supposed to follow that aren't being followed. If you don't have a secure border, it's wide open and people can pretty much come and go as they please. If your border is not secure, your communities aren't secure, your families aren't secure, your state's not secure, your country's not secure. You know what else is not secure, bitch? Your credit. It's unsecured. You have a lot of credit, and that's a problem.
Didn't Biden fly over 300,000 people?
Yes, they did. I don't know if that's in this article. Is she an immigrant? I'd let her immigrate, if you know what I'm saying. Look, a lot of people have different opinions. This other lady, she goes, this is honestly a good take. On immigration, this lady goes, if you are in a position where your best option is to walk 8 months from I'm paraphrasing, from your country to America with your kids, then that, she says, she doesn't finish the sentence, but she goes, I just can't imagine having to do that and start over. And again, let's really ask the question, why do people still want to immigrate to America? It's because this is the only country where you can express yourself as a capitalist tyrant and oppress people. Everyone deep in their hearts wants to be a capitalist tyrant.
Well, I thought the signal was sent out hey, we'll give you money, we'll give you a place to stay, we'll give you a cell phone, we'll No questions asked.
Do you think Venezuelans even know what equity is?
Yeah, some do.
Equity, like I'm not talking about like the concept of equity. I'm talking about like stock. They probably do. Can you even own? I mean, I don't know. That was not. I didn't mean to be. That sounded a little racist. But I'm just saying. I don't know. It's. I mean, I really don't care what you think about immigration because both people are going to fuck it up. Trump will fuck it up. Biden will fuck it up. Anyone that promises you a solution is lying to you. No one. There's this. I'm being really pessimistic today.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason for that.
Get Obama back. He deported more people than anybody else.
He did?
He deported a lot of people, yeah.
You know, on the one hand, immigration people, even, I don't know if you watched that show, Crystal and Sager, Breaking Points.
I've seen it before.
They argue about immigration. I was listening to them. They were arguing, Sager was like, immigration's very bad for America. He was doing the whole, they take our jobs argument. When immigrants come to America, they work for a lower rate. Here's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Globalism is a good thing. That's the title of the episode, Josh. Globalism is good and it's coming.
It's already here.
I'm coming on globalism. Because what is globalism? People don't even know what globalism really is. Globalism is better than the current system. If we had one world government that not controlled everything, but here's the thing. Here's the thing that I think people don't distinguish is, and let me know your opinion, Josh. Does globalism mean one world government or does it mean zero world governments? And are either of those even possible?
Well,
or is it not that simple?
Well, Dr. Michio Kaku, who is a theoretical physicist, said that we need to get to a level 1 civilization by any means necessary. Because if we don't get to a level 1 civilization, which is a one world government, then we're going to fail as a people and we will start to descend into the Stone Age again, is what he was saying. The problem is we don't have benevolent leaders. So when that starts to happen, the people in other countries aren't going to want to give up power. But we can have a decentralized one world government. And what I mean by that is Bitcoin. So you can have, there's nobody leading the financial system, a decentralized internet. So they can't kick you off of, the internet and say you're this IP address. No, you can't get on. You know what I mean?
You know what Dr. Michio Kaku said to me? I heard from him. I heard that interview too. He was like, we need one world. We need to become a level 1 civilization. If we're going to survive, we need to become an interplanetary species. And the first step at achieving that is putting all the Latinos in a camp.
Oh, Jesus.
And then we round them up.
Have you ever seen the movie Elysium?
No.
That's what that was. It was not Ben Affleck, the other guy, his friend, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon.
Yeah, he was the Mexican savior. He saves all the Mexicans who are left on Earth. And then all the...
That's the plot?
Yeah, all the white people live in a pentagram in the sky.
And they leave all the Mexicans on Earth?
Yeah, well, it just so happened that they were all Latino in the movie. And then everybody else spoke German and English and French on Elysium.
Right, that was not a coincidence.
No, not at all.
No, it was a total coincidence that was that.
And it was in the shape of the shape of a pentagram.
See, Hollywood would like to have you believe that all the white people are evil. We're trying to save the world, and everyone else is trying to fuck it up. No, I'm kidding. I don't know, man. I just let's just consider that world that you described for a sec. A world where you have a decentralized one government, but it's decentralized.
Well, it's not one government.
It's zero governments.
Yeah.
It's just people living on the land. Well, here's why I think that's not possible, is because there will always be the wealthy few. Like in a world where Bitcoin becomes, in the world that people imagine with Bitcoin, the world where it it disrupts the idea of government.
Well, the number one thing it does is you can't have perpetual war because you can't keep printing money. So as soon as you run out of your Bitcoin, you can't fight no more.
So it disincentivizes war.
Correct.
Which is good. But the thing is,
for us, not for the military-industrial complex.
But it's good for the people, which is great.
Yeah.
Fuck Raytheon.
Yeah.
Fuck North. Fuck. I sold my Palantir stock
At a profit?
at a profit.
Good job.
I made some money on the military-industrial complex. I'm no longer complicit. Is that funny? Guys, I'd like to announce that I've divested from the military at a tremendous profit to myself.
Buy some Shiba Inu. It's up 300% in a month.
That's a great yeah, it's a great time to buy Shiba Inu. If you don't know what that is, good for you.
Yeah.
We really but you know, it's let me think about this. When so in this world, right, where Bitcoin becomes proliferates and becomes sort of like the global reserve currency, a store of value, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It disincentivizes war, which I think there's a good argument for that, because war is the current way that our countries and society are structured is that war is profitable.
Yeah.
So endless wars make people money, and people are selfish, and they want more wealth.
But also, people can save all the unbanked. So let's say I live in a country, Pakistan.
Authoritarian, tyrannical country.
Correct. And I saved up all this money. And then all of a sudden, just the way Pakistan did it, they're just like, oh, by the way, none of that currency's value. You got to trade it in. And all the real poor people who had no idea, I think it was Pakistan or India, one of the two. So had no idea. And so everybody was like
Gave them their gold, or basically.
Gave them their money. They were buying the poor people's goods with bad money because the people didn't know that they had to trade in that money.
Right.
So basically they took their goods and left them with shitty paper.
Right, and they devalued it. So let's just say we live in this world where Bitcoin stops all the wars, which would be great.
Also lowers housing because BlackRock no longer goes and buys family homes to store wealth. Now they go and they buy Bitcoin because they don't have to put money into it. They just got to hold it on their wallet the whole time, and they can make money off of that.
There's a lot of good things that could happen, but wouldn't you describe that as globalism?
Yeah, we're going towards that. It's going to be a one world government. It's just, are we going to be decentralized, or are we going to be under a CBDC, and they're going to tell us, oh, you eat too much Chick-fil-A, so you can only have it once a week because you're fat.
Well, here's the thing: if it becomes an authoritarian, evil one world government, the people will rise up and stop that from happening.
I mean, if all I care about is feeding my children, I don't have time to go and try to fight you.
Well, apparently these immigrants have time to travel 8 months north to get to the U.S. I think desperate people would. A lot of them are young men, though. Right, to send money back to their families in the partially home country. I don't know. It's again. I'm not trying to say whether or not it's a good thing, or I am actually. I'm trying to say that like people are so afraid of globalism when it solves a lot of problems like the border. What if we didn't have any borders to worry about? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if we lived in a world where we didn't have to worry about borders, where if you live anywhere on Earth, you have the same opportunity for economic prosperity? Is that not a globalist world? What if I could go anywhere without a fucking passport?
You still can't go anywhere because I live in a subdivision that's gated and you're not allowed in, and I have guards on the outside. So it's
because you have more Bitcoin than me.
Yeah.
Well, that's my point. It's like people, so it's like there's always gonna be the haves and the have-nots, and I don't appreciate it when people pretend to care about things that they don't care about. People are driven by fear. People are driven by fear and greed.
I'd rather the money be in the people's hands than in the government and large corporations' hands that can manipulate it.
Well, I'll tell you what. If enough people, if Bitcoin becomes successful, like many people hope it is, there's going to be a handful of people with the most Bitcoin, and they will be the new government.
Michael Saylor will be the richest person on earth.
And he'll own the police. People think that, and I want to clip this up. I'm looking at the camera. People think Bitcoin's going to save you. whoever has the most Bitcoin is going to own the police. And here's my question to you. Do you want Joe Biden ruling the country and enforcing the law? Or do you want an autistic guy that's never left his house and has a sex doll? Do you want him controlling the police? It's up to you. Vote now.
Well, but also, because we think of it as Americans, you know what I mean? But think if you lived in Ukraine or a country that, you know, like I said, devalues your money and you want to get out. A lot of people won't leave their country because it's like, well, then I leave everything. I can't take my money out of the bank. I can't transfer it over. I can't sell my house. I can't bring my house. If I try to take cash over the border, they're going to take that cash from me. They're going to take my gold from me. But if I have my keys in my head, I can walk across the border and start over in a new country that has freedom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's...
I'm sorry. I'm really brainwashed with Bitcoin.
No, I mean, it's not. I mean, I agree with a lot of the ideas behind it, but I don't know. I'm not ready. I don't want to go through another election cycle. I just really don't want to go through another election cycle.
But you have to.
I don't want to.
Or maybe
I might just kill myself.
Or maybe Bill Gates it was right, and we won't have an election because of civil unrest.
I hope there's a civil war in my lifetime. I want to be a part of something fun. I haven't done anything fun. My whole life has just been hard work. Can I be a part of something fun? I want to have a fucking pitchfork. I want a pitchfork. I want to stab Nancy Pelosi with a pitchfork. Is that so bad? If the guys in January 6th really wanted to get something done, you know what they should have done? They should have hung left and gone to the Federal Reserve, you dumb fucks. You were right there.
Yeah.
They went to the Capitol.
But then they would have got shot.
Yes.
Yeah.
They got, you know why January 6th, you know why they were able to get into the Capitol? Because that's not where the power is. If they had hung left and gone to the Federal Reserve, the Pentagon would have nuked the entire city of Washington.
So what battles the Federal Reserve?
Bitcoin.
Boom.
We are not a pro-Bitcoin. We're an anti-Bitcoin podcast.
If you fix the money, you fix half the problems.
I am a Democrat, and I love Joe Biden, and I believe in the power of Joe Biden to fix the economy. Joe Biden gets a bad rap. You know what Joe Biden did? The Inflation Reduction Act. You want to know what that did, Josh? It created inflation.
We're spending $1 trillion every 100 days.
I mean, it's a fucking joke that a bill called the Inflation Reduction Act printed money.
Yeah.
Didn't it print money?
Yeah.
It was fiscal spending.
Right.
Hey, you know how we'll reduce inflation? Fiscal spending. How fucking stupid are these people?
But that's going to create jobs.
Right. It's going to create government jobs, which are fake jobs.
Right.
It's going to create government agency jobs, which are not real. You don't provide any value. And again,
they provide value. When you go after your citizens, you know what I mean? It's going to create value.
There is a value add. See, when the government spends money and creates government jobs, there's a value add because when you're getting your door knocked down by a SWAT team and a guy with a clipboard says, "Hi, I'm from the government of social responsibility and responsible speech," and he says, "You made this tweet, and so we're going to take your kids."
Where you live,
that's
Canada?
Good. We're there's a lot. It's what I'm saying to you now, my dear listeners, is don't live in fear. Live for now. Live in the moment. Live in the moment. If there are immigrants that are ruining your quality of life, I just ask you this, to have some sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
Think about what that Chinese man did to get to Detroit. Took a plane, maybe 2 planes. 2 plane rides? As a man that flies a lot, 2 plane rides is not nothing. And for you to just piss on him as if he's some sort of psyop or spy is xenophobic and it's racist. When I think about the border and I think about what would I do if I was in Thailand and I want to immigrate to the United States, I want that opportunity. And I'm just saying I want that opportunity for everyone. I want people, except for Israel, I want people from every country except for Israel to be able to come to America and prosper, except for anyone who's a Zionist. That's what I want. And Australia, fuck Australia. Australia and Israel are probably my least favorite countries. I am a Jew, by the way. I can say that. It's just hard to grapple. I really don't have much more to say on immigration. It's a very frothy time right now. It's a very frothy time. This election could change. This federal election could change everything, and it will change everything. Mm-hmm. And it really depends on what Taylor Swift wants. So let's talk about Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift, her tour, and I know people talk about the Eras Tour being big, but let me tell you how big the Eras Tour is. This is fucking crazy. Not only does she want you to vote, you know what really depressed me is when I heard that Taylor Swift finally broke her silence. Taylor Swift finally broke her silence, and she's talking about politics. And you know what this bitch says? She goes, "Get out there and vote." And she doesn't tell you who to vote for. She just tells you to vote. She tells you to participate in American democracy, and it's reprehensible. It's sick.
Anybody who tells you
it's sick.
Vote, they're not telling you just go vote. They're saying vote for my person.
They are. And even if they even if truly in their heart of hearts they want you just to vote and they believe that you should just vote for who you want to vote for and they just want to spread the good word of get out there and vote, that's even more evil than wanting you to vote for a specific candidate, because it's telling you to participate in a lie. A lie. A lie.
You know who my favorite one was? Diddy.
What did Diddy say?
Vote or die.
Vote or die?
I think it was Bush versus Al Gore, but that was his thing. He'd go on MTV and be like, vote or die.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Every politician, every president in recent memory on both sides of the aisle increased the federal budget of the military-industrial complex. Mm-hmm. Every single one.
Well, they don't want to get JFK'd.
Democrats, they don't want to get JFK'd. Democrats, Republicans, they want to spend more money on the military. And again, I'm not against a military completely, but when I don't have a choice of a person that says maybe let's not increase the budget by 20% a year every year or double it every year, they want to fight. They want to continue the endless wars abroad. I don't want to be a part of it. Taylor Swift is a mouthpiece for the military-industrial complex. I'm serious.
And the Kansas City Chiefs.
And the Kansas, which is even worse. The Chiefs are even worse than the military-industrial complex. Taylor Swift telling you to vote is Taylor Swift telling you to vote for a candidate that will continue endless wars abroad. Taylor Swift is an imperialist warmonger. She is Genghis Khan. Taylor Swift is the 21st century Genghis Khan. She will continue to rape and pillage with her music. She will continue to rape millions of ears, billions of ears.
That's all him, Swifties. I didn't say any of that. That's all him.
I feel like the SWAT team is going to fuck. I'm feeling I'm about to get swatted. It's a really good thing we don't do this live.
Yeah.
And it's a disgrace. What Taylor Swift is doing is a disgrace to intellectual thought everywhere. It's really, really reprehensible. It's shameful. If I ever have a platform so big that I get to tell people I have the opportunity to tell people things like go out there and vote. You know what I'm going to say? You're gay. You're fucking gay. That's what I'm going to say.
I think if you get big enough, you're going to be like, listen, it starts with you. Make your bed every morning. Make your bed.
Oh, I thought you said bet.
No.
That's actually what's going to happen. I'm going to go, it starts with you. Make your bet. DraftKings.
There you go.
So this is crazy. Taylor, and this is kind of a deeper cut article. This is why you watch Sean's show, because I actually read the news. What other comedian actually reads the news aside from Tim Dillon and Rogan?
Yeah.
What other comedian? Name one.
Mm-hmm. What's his name? He has his own. He used to.
Tim Heidecker.
Politically incorrect. What is it?
Ralphie May.
No, he had it on HBO for a long time. Politically Incorrect, or what is it called?
Oh, Jon Stewart.
Bill Maher.
Yeah.
I see, and Bill Maher does the same thing. Instead of saying like, "Stop! Don't throw away your vote," he's like, "Grow up." It's going to be one of these two. Grow up. Like, accept the system.
Yeah, and I see, and that's the difference between me and Bill Maher is, I will not accept the system. But Taylor Swift. So this is an incredible story. Taylor Swift has struck a deal with Singapore. That's how you know she's too big.
Mm-hmm.
You know Taylor Swift is too big when she's cutting a deal with a country. Mm-hmm. No artist should be cutting a deal with the country. One of these is a country, Singapore, and the other one is Taylor Swift, an artist, and she's cutting a deal. So she cuts a deal with Singapore to it's basically an exclusivity deal to only perform in Singapore and to not bring the Eras Tour to any other Southeast Asian country. And this is really having, believe it or not, incredible ramifications on the Southeast Asian economy. Mm-hmm. Because if the Eras Tour has become a prize, it's literally almost the equivalent of like getting an Amazon factory built in your country.
The Olympics.
It's literally, that's an even more relevant example. It's these countries want to attract Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift 2024. Fuck yeah.
It literally is that. I'm sure a lot of these countries have offered to build stadiums for her just to do a single concert because that's how much it would raise the GDP. I mean, even in America, didn't Taylor Swift raise the GDP by like a 1%?
Something.
It's crazy. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar
I think
tour.
I lowered the GDP by 0.0002%.
You did?
Yeah, personally.
No, you spend a lot.
Yeah.
You raised it, dude. Nothing. What lowers the GDP? Not making revenue.
Yeah.
So yes, technically, yeah. I lowered the GDP by not making any revenue doing comedy. But so this is a crazy story. Taylor Swift stole the show at an Asian summit Tuesday when Singapore's leader was prompted to defend his tiny country's tiny country. Watch out, Associated Press, tiny country.
His micro country.
Singapore is a big dick player. They're saying tiny country like Singapore is not a big dick player. Singapore is on the map. I don't know. Singapore is the Austin, Texas of countries.
It's worth.
It's a lie.
958 billion
in GDP.
Yeah. No assets.
Oh, so it's a big. It's a very wealthy country, Singapore. And so Taylor Swift goes to Southeast Asia, and get this: Singapore is a key member of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Say that 10 times fast. A 10-nation bloc known as ASEAN. ASEAN, like me.
Yeah.
I own Southeast Asia.
You own 10
secretly.
nations? That's fucking dope.
I do. Its 3-day summit was expected to focus on a member Myanmar's humanitarian crisis. That's so funny. There's a humanitarian crisis in Myanmar, and I've never heard of it. Like people talk about Ukraine and they talk about Gaza.
Mm-hmm.
What about Myanmar? And conflicts in the South China Sea. So I want to watch this video. It's the Prime Minister of Singapore who was basically grilled by reporters. The reporters were basically like, why would you cut this deal with Taylor Swift? Are you trying to start shit with all the other Southeast Asian countries?
Yeah.
They're basically like, why don't you want Taylor Swift to go to Thailand? Like, it's like prime ministers of countries are being grilled about a girl next door white bitch with an acoustic guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It's insanity.
She's bigger than that. Now she's bigger than nations.
She's a nation state.
Yes.
Taylor Swift is a nation unto herself.
Mm-hmm.
She is a sovereign citizen.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor Swift is a sovereign. She is a country. Taylor Swift could spend $100 million and build a military. Why doesn't Taylor Swift colonize Gaza?
He was doing the right. I mean, that's what happened through COVID. What did all these governors do? They went and they recruited people to move to their state. Abbott went and recruited Elon Musk. He recruited Joe Rogan. And it doesn't sound like, well, why would he do that? It's just like because he wants the biggest podcast here. He wants the
cultural relevance.
Yeah.
And that's I think what Singapore is doing with Taylor here. It's very smart. So Taylor Swift is performing 6 concerts from March 2 to 9 in Singapore. And some Southeast Asian neighbors complained that the Singapore deal deprives them of the tourism boom her concerts bring to hosts.
You're depriving us of Taylor Swift.
Taylor, why you no come to?
Oh my God.
Why you no come to Myanmar?
That's been your best accent.
Is it good?
Shit. That was your best accent.
Whatever accent a white man is the best in is who he's racist against deep down.
Yep.
So let that tell you something about me. Joke. It's a joke, guys. I'm fucking joking. Hey, can't I do a character? People get mad at white people doing accents.
Mm-hmm.
Can't I do a character?
You can only do Italian.
How come Quentin Tarantino can say the N-word in his movies and people adore him, but I can't do an accent of another race?
Because it's a movie. It's not real.
This is a movie too. My Life's a movie.
Oh, okay.
Just like, all right, a bad movie. It's My Life's a B movie. The movie that is My Life bombed at the box office.
Yeah.
My movie lost money, and Hollywood and critics were not excited about it. So let's watch this video. The Singapore Prime Minister is defending his decision. So let's watch this video.
Taylor Swift has become the buzziest topic at a summit of South.
Shut up, bitch. I hate it. That's one of my least favorite words.
Buzziest?
Buzziest. When you say the word buzziest, I know that you love reading Vice and you do ketamine on the weekend and you have 2 boyfriends.
I wish you would have been like, man, Taylor Swift's bussin'. That's what I wish you would have said.
That's what it's going to be in 10 years.
Yeah.
All these journalists are going to be like, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is low-key bussin' on God.
Yeah.
Singapore recognized this and cut a cringe deal.
No
and
cap.
cut a deal that other countries, that the other Southeast Asian member nations are cringing at. No cap.
Taylor Swift has become the buzziest topic at a summit of Southeast Asian leaders over her exclusive deal with Singapore. She's in the middle of a series of concerts in the city-state that neighboring countries say bars them from the economic boost her concerts bring.
Hey, Thailand, should have moved faster. Should have moved a little bit faster, huh? Dumbass.
The regional 3-day summit in Australia was expected to focus on Myanmar's humanitarian crisis and conflicts in the
That's hilarious. Let's listen to that again. So let's just listen to this again. Again, Singapore, Southeast Asia, humanitarian crisis in Myanmar that no one gives a fuck about. I don't know what it is, but it's probably another genocide. Who cares? Let's listen again to what the summit, and the summit was supposed to focus on that humanitarian crisis. Listen again very closely to what they actually talked about.
East Asian destination on her Eras Tour. Lee defended the deal and told reporters the arrangement with Swift has been very successful, and he doesn't see it as being unfriendly toward neighboring countries. Lee did not directly answer when asked if there was any bad blood among other leaders.
Oh my God. She's literally doing they're literally doing puns.
Yeah.
You know,
Swift,
Bad Blood is a song, right?
It was a Swift.
It was a reference to one of her songs, right?
Swift's Eras Tour shattered records when it reportedly surpassed $1 billion last year. Earlier in February, she made stops in Japan and Australia in exchange for making Singapore the only long, confirmed on Tuesday that Swift was given certain incentives in exchange for making Singapore the only Southeast
Where's the
Asian
Myanmar?
destination
Is it earlier
on
in
her
the
Eras Tour. Lee defended the deal in Australia was expected to focus
I
on
thought she talked about
Myanmar's
Myanmar.
humanitarian crisis.
Oh, here we go. Ready?
And
Ready?
conflicts in the countries say bars them from the economic.
All right, let's just start it over. Listen to this shit.
Taylor Swift has become the buzziest topic at a summit of Southeast Asian leaders over her exclusive deal with Singapore. She's in the middle of a series of concerts in the city-state that neighboring countries say bars them from the economic boost her concerts bring. The regional 3-day summit in Australia was expected to focus on Myanmar's humanitarian crisis and conflicts in the South China Sea.
Okay. There you have it, folks. There you have it. People are selfish. The world's going to shit. Because a summit that was supposed to be focused on presumably the deaths of many in Myanmar, which is what is the humanitarian crisis in Myanmar?
The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs said 18.6 million people across Myanmar need humanitarian assistance, struggling to survive amid conflict and insecurity, civilian safety and protection threats, as well as soaring inflation.
Hey, you know what I say to the people of Myanmar? You can enter the country legally.
Oh, jeez.
You can enter the country legally. Vic, Hey, Josh, you know what I say about the people of Myanmar? They're not bringing their best and brightest. They're rapists. They're drug dealers. Though that 4-year-old is hungry. For what? Crime.
It says here in February 2021, the army overthrew the democratically elected government and seized power in a military coup.
Okay, so all that being said, listen to this. Imagine you're at this 3-day summit, okay? You're the prime minister of Singapore, and you've planned to like talk about how to solve the humanitarian crisis in Myanmar. All these people are dying. It's probably very sad.
Yes.
You get there, and the first question is about Myanmar, and you're like, all right, let's do this. Let's get to a solution. How are you going to solve the crisis in Myanmar? We're going to work with the UN. We're gonna make sure that an election can happen, and we're gonna stabilize the region. And the next question is, do you like Taylor Swift? What's your favorite Taylor Swift song?
Well, it's a good way to distract or not talk about the real issues.
Yeah, and I don't know how the Singapore guy feels about Myanmar. Maybe this is all a part of a ploy to not talk about Myanmar. I don't know. But it just goes to show that Taylor Swift, again, she is. She is. Did she write "Shake It Off"?
Mm-hmm.
Hey Taylor, shake it off. You know what? She's gonna go. You know what's gonna happen? Taylor Swift's gonna be in her private jet, flying into Southeast Asia to get to Singapore. She's gonna look outside of her private jet, and she's gonna see a bunch of Myanmarese people ripping each other's faces off and cannibalizing each other because there's no food left, and they live in an authoritarian regime. She's going to see that. She's going to see guys eating each other's flesh and bones and fire and anger. And, she's going to be like, oh my God, what's that? And the pilot's going to be like, hey, Taylor, shake it off. He's going to do puns. Like the people of Myanmar, the government's collapsing. And then the pilot's going to be like, if you look to our right, you can see there's a lot of bad blood in Myanmar. And it's just like, so sounds like some bad blood down there, Taylor. I would just look forward and don't cry. It's okay. She's going to be like, can I do my Eras tour in Myanmar? And they'll be like, no. All right, guys. That's been the show. You got to go, right? 6. Thank you so much for listening. Follow the show on Spotify. Don't click away yet. Don't click away, you fuck. I know you're about to click away. Don't click away. Follow the show on Spotify. Like the show on YouTube. Comment, what's your favorite Taylor Swift song? And what's your favorite authoritarian regime? Then I want you to tell your friends about the show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to build this shit. I'm hiring people. It's very exciting. A lot of cool shit coming up. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona this Thursday, guys. If you want to come see me do stand-up comedy, I already have 13 tickets sold.
Nice.
So that's not bad. So it's going to be a fun show. I got a couple friends of mine opening for me. Tickets at SeanReillyComedy.com for those if you want to come see me in Phoenix. I'm in Columbus on the following week on that Saturday in Columbus, Ohio. Very excited for that. And the dream continues, guys. If you're still listening, thank you for listening. Josh, any closing remarks?
Check out comedyfrequency.com and go buy 0.01 Bitcoin at least. That's not financial advice.
It is. From me, Sean Christopher Reilly. Bye. Love you.